Hello and welcome to Today in the News of Market Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and this morning I'm starting with Vanguard on the paper review. Vanguard is leading with Arson. Oil output in rivers threatened if, that's according to FUBARA. FUBARA, architect of rivers crisis, that's according to Minister Wike, says arsonists will account for setting local government headquarters ablaze. Vows corporates will be fished out. Swears in BP 3 others as commissioners. Rivers government constitutes 7-man judicial commission into arsonist attacks. Decries the governor's penchant for disobeying court orders. Set to challenge judicial panel of inquiry. You can see that on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. And on page 6, 21 feared dead, 11 rescued as boats collide in Lagos. And on page 9, court orders INEC to recognize Abuja as Labour Party's national chairman. Flooding, dredge rivers Niger, Benue, now, Senate tells Tinubu. And on page 31, sport, AFCON 2025 qualifier, Eguavon beat Super Eagles, will beat Libya. 2 soldiers, village head, son, others killed in Boko Haram ambush. VIO restriction, Abuja court judgement not applicable in Lagos as according to government. And above the banner on page 20, CBN assures public and financial system stability and safety of funds. Edoguba, again, INEC denies PDP, Igodalo's access to beavers, other poll items. That's according to state governments. Nigeria can become refining hub, that's coming from Dangote. Local airlines to buy jet fuel only from Dangote refinery. That's coming from federal government. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, gunmen kill 5 in Anambra community. That can be seen on page 11. And on the Guardian is leading with anxiety as federal government commit state funds to special development commissions. Abuja court judgment on VIO inapplicable in Lagos, government declares. Wike gives condition to end political crisis in rivers. Federal government unveils national values charter for nationhood and patriotism. You can see that on page 4. Court sentences teacher to life imprisonment for defiling 2 7-year-olds. Service disruption imminent as Kogi defies presidential order seals base stations. You can see this on newspage 15. And lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, airline operators option to patronize Dangote refinery for jet fuel. That can be seen on page 6. Now we'll move to the Punch. Punch is leading with marketers to begin direct Dangote petrol purchase. New pump price looms as national oil firm moves to dump 99 billion naira monthly subsidy. That can be seen on page 2 and on page 22. FDI crashes to record low of $29.8 million. NIWA donates safety kits to Niger boat operators. Federal government 31-member panel to begin talks with ASU. Rescuers comb lagoon for 5 missing boat passengers. As South Korean investors planning 4 Nigerian refineries. That's coming from federal government. And above the banner, stop crude for loan deals, Dangote tells government. OT Fashion loses as court declares Abuja Labour Party chair. That can be seen on page 3. And lastly, the Nation newspaper this morning is leading with 16 states to Supreme Court. Bar EFCC, NFIU from probing our accounts. Law on anti-graft agency defective. Apex Court fixes October 22nd for hearing. You can see that on page 2. And directly below the banner, Oba of Bini asks Okwebolo to fulfill campaign promises in Edo. Wike blames violence on FUBARA's refusal to obey courts. Governor sets up commission of inquiry. Above the banner, council boss, Lagos Assembly clash over indefinite suspension. Lagos rejects order on VIO. 5 dead, 15 rescued in Lagos boat accident. Lastly, on the Nation newspaper, $50 billion investment coming to oil sector, says Lokobiri. You can see that on page 4. Policies attracted investors. And that's all we have on some of the pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today in the News of Vanga Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Joining me to analyze the front pages of the dailies this morning is Mr. Gbero Olajigbe. He's the Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, Mr. Gbero.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being with you.
Same here. All right, let's move straight to some of the stories. And Vanguard this morning, leading with the story of Rivers State Governor. According to the story, FUBARA warned yesterday that oil production in the state will be threatened if there was any further violence or attack in the state. What do you think about this, given the issues that have happened in the Rivers State of recent?
Yeah, it's a national security issue. When a part of the country is being disrupted, particularly violently, and of course, essentially by political actors who were gladiators in the last regime and of course in this current regime of FUBARA. The fact of it is that there is a government in place in Rivers State, and people must accept it as long as no court or any other has removed FUBARA for now. But the fact of it is that fact must be frankly faced. The provocateur is Wike, yes or Wike, who is rooting for the control of the so-called political structure in Rivers State, and thereby creating atmosphere for anarchy. So that has been the situation. It's not a recent development alone in Rivers State. It has happened before, and of course, it's likely to continue until there is a new trajectory that defines a better political behavior in Rivers State. The fact of it is that these actors will never let go until something happens. So it's a national security threat, and it has potential to interrupt oil production in Rivers State. We all know the position of Rivers State when it comes to oil production in Nigeria. So it's going to complicate economic situation if it is allowed to persist without anyone addressing that or keeping people at bay, so that there will be no further violence in the riverine state. But most importantly, it should be noted that the part of it is that Yeson Wike has ended his tenure. There's a new governor in place, and the governor must be allowed to work. The local government election has been conducted. People who won have been declared to have won, has been sworn in. So if there is any cause for any disagreement, it should go to the tribunal or court now, rather than trailing the path of anarchy.
But the former governor of Rivers State said that the present governor should be held liable for the tense political atmosphere in the state.
That is Badadash. He's the main actor in the crisis, so he shouldn't exonerate himself. I listened to him talking of rule of law. What does he know about rule of law? Somebody that a court resisted, that he shouldn't demolish people's houses in Abuja, and he has done that. So he's now he just discovered rule of law in his own book now. Why in Rivers State he demolished people's house erratically and illegally,
Mr.
in spite of court injunction.
Now, some of the things he said the governor planned a failed coup, that that if he planned to remove the State House of Assembly, and the coup boomeranged.
Well, it's political. It's political. Everything he's saying is political. But if it's so strong that it's a case for rule of law to be obeyed, he should appeal to his people too. If the governor has done anything wrong, he should go to court and challenge it, since he now believes in rule of law. So it's not about rule of law. What has been playing in Rivers State political atmosphere all this while has been might is right, even especially and essentially during the wicked regime in Rivers State. It was situation of might was right in his time. He laid the foundation for all this megalomania feeling while in office. He trained FUBARA to trail the same line. And of course, you don't blame a son for following the example of his father. If that analogy should go for Wike and FUBARA. But the fact of it is that Nigeria, if we want to practice democracy, we should know. Democracy should not be at the dictation of an individual. What rule of law that made Wike to confess to a crime that he obtained forms and funded the election of all the members of National Assembly, all the members of State Assembly, including the election of FUBARA, that he funded it, from which was, that is criminal, economic crime, political crime, and of course, a standalone crime, if you have to look at it that way. So how does that fit into the triangle of rule of law? The triangle of rule of law, that is allowing for civil liberty, the triangle of rule of law, allowing for equality before law, the triangle of rule of law, allowing for supremacy of law. So his action is not in consonance with what he's preaching now, because he's a victim. He has been shortchanged. He has become victim of his own machination. And that is what you are getting in Rivers State. So if election is not perfect and if decisions are not well taken, the option left in democracy, since he believes in rule of law, is to appeal to his people and followers to go to court.
All right, let's move away from that. On October 2nd, 2024, in a high court in Abuja bars the Directorate of Vehicle Inspection Service from stopping vehicles, impounding them, or imposing fines on motorists. But the Lagos state government has clarified that this does not apply in Lagos. What do you think about this?
Yes, there is excesses in the activities of vehicle inspection of officers across the country. But of course, the specific judgment was given against Abuja. So it should not, court is not Father Christmas. And that cannot be extended to any other state. I think to that extent, Lagos State is right. But that does not mean that somebody can challenge the practice in Lagos State where VIO will arrest you and bill you to go and pay charges. It's unacceptable because they are not court of law. They cannot impose judgment debt. It's only court that can impose judgment debt on people and not a VIO. And they are not doing their work. Vehicle inspection officers means that correct people, if they are not, for example, if they don't have their papers, part of their body, car accessories, such as maybe something like traffic, trafficator is not working and everything. What you can do is to hold on to that person until he collects those documents. Not that you say you see somebody's car because he violates one thing or the other. You don't have the right. It's because we are so lawless, and of course, Lagos State is notable for generating revenue. So they don't even do their own work. They veer off the road and became revenue collectors for government without addressing the primary purpose for which they are funded, for which they were established, for which they were put on the road, to ensure that vehicles on the road are worthy of being on the road. Roadworthiness of vehicle in terms of accessory, in terms of everything. So those are their works, and not to be intimidating people, fleecing people of their monies and resources under the guise of working. That is not how to work. If there is an infraction, you take the people to court, and not that you will sit in one place and say that go and pay 40,000 for the breach. They don't have that right, whether in Abuja, whether in Ondo, whether in Lagos, whether in Kaduna. VIO has no such right. It is only court that can impose fine, and not any other agency in Nigeria. Because it is the imposition of fine is based on the condition that the person or persons are guilty. And the only established institution that can apportion that can declare that a person is guilty or innocent is the court, and that is the only justifiable reason for imposing sanction. And VIO in Lagos or everywhere has been imposing these sanctions illegally, illegitimately, and of course unacceptably. So they don't have the right, whether in Lagos. It's only that persons or people have not taken Lagos VIO to court. But to be fair, in this question, the jurisdiction for this case, for this judgment, is FCT, Federal Capital Territory, and not Lagos. And let us not forget that VIO everywhere they are state creation. They are not agencies of federal government, but because of the special characteristic and feature and affiliation of Federal Capital Territory, it looks as if it is federal. So it belongs to the federal, or the jurisdiction is where the judgment can be enforced is within FCT and not outside it, including Lagos.
All right, let's move to the oil sector. And major marketers, they are to begin the direct purchase of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, from the Dangote petroleum refinery between Tuesday and next week, as NNPCL pulls out a sole off-taker of the product from the $20 billion plant. So what do you think about this move? Because for some time, the major marketers, they've been having issues getting the product directly from Dangote.
Well, I made a joke of NNPC the other day that NNPC is pulling out from the marriage to Dangote because NNPC has become Dangote's wife and is now quitting the marriage because Dangote has become polygamous. That is, many marketers now having direct access to Dangote refinery. I think that should be good, provided they don't connive together to begin to repress Nigeria in terms of pricing. I hope if they have access to that and everything, and they agree on what should be the depot price per liter, I think it might be better for the country, rather than allowing NNPC to become the major behemoth in the distribution of Dangote fuel, and thereby making life further difficult for the country. So the main thing is that Nigeria wants to see the price of fuel dropping to acceptable level.
But Mr. Guerrero, do you think the price will drop? Because according to report, NNPC was shouldering a subsidy of about 3.3 billion naira daily on petrol, on Dangote petrol.
Which subsidy? All those things are the what is oozing out of the criminal enterprise they have created. How can, when we were importing, we said the price is high because we were importing. Now that is locally produced, you are not even, the freight cost is no longer there. The charges, various charges, custom charges and every other things, they are no longer there. Yet, they are now claiming that, imported fuel is just cheaper than the one that is still locally produced. So Nigeria, you can hardly understand Nigeria. Somebody have said it that for you to understand Nigeria, you must, in fact, you must lose your brain and lose your heart, because you will then understand what's going on in the Nigeria. My advice is
All right, let's end this on a lighter note this morning with Mr. and Mrs. As Mrs. says, dear, you have to take it easy on red meat. The doctor said it's not too good for you. And Mr. replied, oh yeah, come and change the color by adding more vegetable. He also needs to listen to his doctor's advice, because of course that will help him when it comes to his health. Now this is where we have to draw the curtain this morning. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Do also like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can also visit our website www.vanguardasia.com.